With the help of Kuro, we've been telling you the story of Ben 10 in chronological order. Now, since it's such a long video, it's been divided by sagas. Next, we'll see my favorite saga, the third one from Ultimate Alien. I recommend you stay until the end of the video and subscribe for the last video. That one will include all the sagas and the latest from Ben 10 Omnibus. I'll be quiet for a month, so let's get started. On Osmocincos, home of the Osmocian race, a lowlife named Agregor is about to absorb the powers of 5 special alien species that would give him the power to survive the treacherous one. On his journey to collect the 4 parts of the Infinity Map, Agregor captures the 5 aliens and returns to Osmocincos, where he will absorb their powers through a special machine. The alien prisoners rebel and land on Earth, where each one would take a different path. In front of the ocean shore, Vilgax in his true form rises, while some passersby find him too weak. Due to his previous battle, he couldn't return to his normal form and can barely move. So, after a while, he is discovered by a man who quickly alerts the leader of the Circle of the Eternal Flame, a religious charity organization that secretly worships an ancient being known as Dagon. They believe that humanity was initiated by aliens and that Dagon would one day return to Earth for a second coming of enlightenment. Now, it just so happens that Vilgax bears a strong resemblance to him. The members of the Circle are known as the Esoterics and as worshippers of Dagon. They have the ability to enter and exit dimensions and unleash a powerful demonic energy. Vilgax accepts his false identity as the Circle takes care of him until he recovers his health. Water, water, water. Save Dagon, the bearer of knowledge. Life seems to have fallen into repetition for the trio, until Ben discovers that his secret identity has been revealed to the world, which brought him a lot of unwanted attention in the media and in his personal life. The trio traced the leak to a small blogger named Jimmy Jones, who deduced Ben's secret. He takes advantage of the situation to inform him about an alien who is stealing parts of a nuclear bomb in Florida. Kevin unleashes his new ship, the Rosebucket 3, and sets course for the mentioned destination where they meet him. This is the first of the 5 Andromeda aliens he agrees to rescue and help return to their home worlds. Although in the end it doesn't matter, Agregor always had the advantage of recovering the aliens for himself, completing his mutation as Supreme Agregor. The next battle leaves Max with nerve system damage, leaving him stranded on Galvan Prime while he recovers. Paradox claims that he was the one who hid the 4 pieces of the Infinity Map. So a race begins between Supreme Agregor and the trio. Despite their efforts, Supreme Agregor proves to be very intelligent and powerful. He manages to gather the pieces of the Infinity Map, which grants him access to the Forge of Creation, the place where the Celestial Sapiens are born, the race of Alien X. Now, Paradox is forced to take the trio to the entrance of the Forge. Here, Ben accidentally gets tangled up with a chrono-randomization barrier, which manages to push his 10-year-old self out of his timeline, only to form a temporary team of generations. How did you break the Omnitrix again? I didn't break it, we're already here. Yes, I think so. The Bens, Gwen, and Kevin fight against Agregor, supreme on the palms of a giant celestial sapien mother, where Agregor plans to absorb her child and gain omnipotence. Since the eminent celestial sapiens don't have the same drawbacks as their adult selves. Now, just when he's about to succeed, Kevin sacrifices his sanity and absorbs the powers of the Ultimatrix, creating Supreme Kevin, who would defeat Agregor and also absorb his powers. The overwhelming imminent power drives Kevin insane, and the trio temporarily breaks up. His part, Paradox takes young Ben back to his own timeline. He will be able to remember these events as a dream, so that Ben can vaguely recall a future in which they were once best friends. Kevin's unintentional betrayal creates a rift between Ben and Gwen, but she continues to support the idea that Kevin could change and that they should save him no matter what. Ben disagrees, saying that Kevin has obviously gone too far and that they should kill him before anyone else gets hurt by him. Meanwhile, Ultimate Kevin is hungry for power and attacks many of his old friends and enemies alike, including Max from the Force, and the Guardian who killed his childhood friend who helped him escape with the help of the longtime enemy Darkstar and Cooper. Ben and Gwen each try their own way to deal with Kevin. Gwen tries to appeal to his reasoning, which fails, and Ben has no choice but to face Kevin in a battle where both of them almost die. Luckily, Darkstar and Cooper finish a device that can cure Kevin. This is powered by the remains of the Dominus Libres, an ancient energy-conducting artifact believed to be of extraterrestrial origin. With Kevin cured, the trio is finally reunited, Max has recovered from his injuries, and everything seems to be fine in the world. Until the Eternal Knights, who continue their ancient tradition of finding and exploiting alien technology, come across an old seal with a symbol, which they believe is a weapons vault. Fortunately, the vault is too strong to be opened completely. Unfortunately, they make a small opening, releasing a troublesome creature. This catches the attention of the trio, who work with the Eternal Knights to track down the creature. When they find it, the creature seeks out Gwen by embedding itself in her mind and temporarily controlling her. Fortunately, the trio frees her, leaving Gwen with new memories. These reveal that the creature is actually a demon that feeds on prayers, called Madness, which is a small servant of a great being named Dagon. Now let me tell you that what they broke was actually a seal that kept the beast away. Now this beast is slowly being set free. The broken seal also alerts an old man from the senior center, known simply as George, who starts heading toward the seal, confirming that it is broken. Now, his quest to kill Dagon begins once again. He goes to Area 51 and teleports the entire base to the side of a mountain, using it as a place to carry out his operations. Meanwhile, the trio meets Paradox and Ultimate Ben, another version of Ben from the future. He realizes that every time he meets his master, he changes. But for now, this future comes with the power to access his transformations while he's in his human form. For now, everyone will join forces to help put an end to Ion, an evil time walker who has been traveling through the multiverse, killing the different Ben Tennysons. Although it is later discovered that this is not the case, he is simply recruiting them for his own personal motives. The ultimate trio, Ben and Paradox, manage to defeat Ion by discovering that his version possesses the hands of Armageddon, which are said to exist simultaneously in all possible universes. Ultimate Ben returns to the future after giving Ben some new transformations, and Paradox warns Ben,
"Beware of old George, beware of the creature from beyond."
At that moment, old George is meeting at Area 51 with the leaders of each faction. Of the Eternal Knights, this one proclaims that the Eternal Knights must carry out their true order. Exterminate all the aliens on the planet. He upgrades the Eternal Knights with advanced armor and special vehicles, all to complete the purge. This officially begins with the death of Pierce, one of Max's students, which prompts the trio to intervene and then put an end to the purge. Then they discover that all of this was a distraction, since George's real quest was to retrieve the step sword, which is found piercing the heart of the dragon. In a kind of fortress that teleports fortunately, George was able to calculate where the fortress would appear, so Gwen and the gang closely followed him into the fortress. Sir George and the trio encounter Vilgax, who was brought by the Circle of the Eternal Flame. They still think he is Dagon. Their goal is to reunite Dagon with his heart so he can regain all his power and save humanity. While Erica's Sotera group battles the Forever Knights, Vilgax grabs Escalon and, empowered by the sword, returns to his normal form. Then he hears the voice of the real Dagon, telling him that he is aware of his mischief, but that he will actually grant him ultimate power if he becomes his servant. Vilgax wastes no time and tries to return to the seal to break it, but he is only consumed by it, leaving Escalon in George's hands. The sword restores his youthful strength, and the old George says that Dagon is his mission. The trio agreed to back off for now and see if old George can handle it alone. A few weeks later, the trio investigates the hideout of the Circle of Eternal Flames, but they don't find anyone there. But thanks to the alien clockwork, they discover that they have gathered around the seal with an army of esotericas to help free Dagon. Once and for all, the Eternal Knights, led by Sir George, prepare for the final war against the esotericas. The battle is so great that there must be losses. One of them is Sir George's squire, who is quickly avenged by taking down the leader of the circle, who with his last breath still proclaims his loyalty to Dagon. Ben soon meets Sir George on the battlefield, where both of them face Vilgax, who now has been granted demonic power by Dagon. In order to destroy the seal, this new version of Vilgax seems to match the battle against these two powerful beings. Now, unfortunately, time runs out and the seal ends up breaking. More of Dagon's power is released on Earth, which turns all living beings on the planet into esoterics. Aside from Sir George and the trio, who were protected by Gwen, however, the seal is still not completely broken. Dissatisfied with Vilgax, Dagon reconnects with Gwen through a flaw he implanted during the Lockabra incident. Because of this, he forces her to break the seal.
Break the seal, my Anodite.
Is that easy, love? Gwen unfortunately succeeds, and Dagon is released into the universe. The creature rises above them with a divine presence and begins to fight against the trio. And Sir George, as the last defense for humanity, Dagon turns Sir George to dust and finally defeats him. With all hope lost, it's Vilgax who appears to defeat Dagon. The squid has revealed his true intentions, absorbing Dagon's power into himself, just like he stole the power from the other 10 worlds he conquered. Now, with Vilgax using Dagon's power, he must wield the Sword of Ascalon. He fulfills Sir George's destiny, putting an end to Dagon's power forever. Now, after absorbing Dagon's power into the sword, and armed with the Ultimatrix, Vilgax proclaims Gwen as a god and urges him to use his power to reshape the universe in any way he desires. Tempted by near omnipotence, he rejects the power and returns the sword to Asmode. Asmode, is he impressed by the personal growth he has achieved? Gwen is no longer the same arrogant fool who had saved the universe from the Hyrule invasion, so he considers Gwen worthy of the new complete Omnitrix.